The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Well, good afternoon to one and all in the region, across the nation, around the world. We welcome you all to the Brian Snow Show. And I just got a piece of news that is going to make me scream in delight. I have yet to confirm this, but for those of you watching on YouTube, this is what I'm screaming about. Starting today, eligible creators will begin to apply to YPP earlier, that's YouTube partnerships, once they've met a threshold of 500 subscribers, 3 public uploads in the last 90 days, and either 3,000 watch hours in the past year or 3 million shorts views in the last 90 days. These new partners will unlock access to fan funding features like channel memberships, super chats, super stickers, super thanks, and ability to promote their own products with YouTube shopping. If all that is confirmed, and I'm trying to confirm this as soon as I can, but if all that is confirmed, then I should be getting something in my email soon about this. Incredible. My prayers just may be answered after all, but I still want to push and get more subscribers. Well, let me welcome a friend of mine for the first hour. His name is Victor Locke, and this segment is called The Random Musings of Vicala. And he joins me right now. What's up, my friend?
Good afternoon, Soul Man. Let me start off by saying, ladies and gentlemen, your winners and new NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, and double congratulations to Nikola Jokic, because he basically said to the league and to Joel Embiid, you can go ahead and keep that regular season MVP. I'll take this Larry Bryan trophy and these matching rings.
And the matching rings. And the matching rings. I love every single minute of it.
It goes to show that the median darling, the person that everyone deems most popular, may not always be the best player or the best team. I go back to something that you guys talked about. I believe it was yesterday.
Right.
About media darlings, New York, Boston, the Cubs, the Cowboys.
Yeah, all those fools.
The Lakers, and how
especially this season with the Lakers.
Yeah. And those teams getting way more shine, even after they failed.
Yeah.
They're getting more shine. I mean, the fact that the Cowboys are still being talked about after I don't need to go any further about what happened.
No, you don't.
But after their mess up, people are still following them about how great this season is going to be. And I'm thinking, with what? We don't have anything yet.
Yeah.
And you just see it over and over again, like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, decent player. But as Cool already alluded to, he don't have it upstairs.
What have I said for years about Joel Embiid? What have I said for years?
He doesn't have it upstairs. He doesn't have the mentality or the maturity.
Neither one of those two things.
He basically stole Zach Wilson's playbook.
That's all he did.
And blame everybody else. And it's like, dude, you are control of what you do. If you're not turning in a performance that is worthy of MVP, as you said about erasing 3 Februaries, shut up.
Period.
You're just as much to blame for the loss as they are.
Now, tell me how the hell Joel Embiid got MVP this year when he wasn't even the best player on his team? I'm
Why you
sorry.
ask?
They deemed James Harden the best player on the team.
I would say, why you're asking me? I think Philadelphia sucked this year.
They suck bad.
I don't know how they even got to the playoffs, and yet
Nor
they
do I.
did. And yet Joel Embiid whined and cried and complained, and you know the other words.
Yep. Whined and moaned. There's
And
a
got
word in
him.
front of it, so you
And
know what that is.
yeah, and apparently that's all you need to be the MVP. I mean, what happened to MVPs proving it on the floor?
It's all social media now. It's all social media business.
That's true.
And I hate that it went that way. I absolutely despise that it went that way.
I think what happens now is this is instant gratification. And it's
Yeah.
something that, again, I got to go my man, Cool McKean, something he said today too, this morning, about why fundamental basketball is not viewed as favorably as it's supposed to be, because it's winning basketball.
Mhm.
You
Yeah, it
can't
is.
deny with the results. The teams that
No.
have been fundamentally sound are the ones that have won. Denver
Yeah.
Nuggets, hello.
Yeah.
Golden State Warriors, hello.
Golden State Warriors, hello.
San Antonio Spurs, hello.
Chicago Bulls in the 90s, hello.
Exactly. Heck, the Boston Celtics in 2009, hello.
Yep. Boston Celtics.
Those teams won by sticking to fundamentals and polishing those up where they didn't have gaping holes.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's not shown as fashionable or, as I said last time, pretty,
Right.
and it's not something that you could put on YouTube, like no one says, hey, look at this, fundamentally sound give and go into the paint, or look how to set up a textbook pick, or the textbook pick and roll. You're not even seeing those anymore.
No, you're not.
You're not seeing those anymore. So all you're seeing are, look at this windmill dunk or between the legs dunk in regulation.
In regulation. And it still led to a loss.
Exactly.
That's what people don't get. It still led to an L. It still led to that. And people don't want to look at it that way. Oops, push the wrong button. I'm sorry. I get button happy. Dag nabbit. I get button happy when I get some new stuff. And I hate when that happens.
But
I apologize, y'all.
But it does go back to something that you and I have talked about in length off camera, and especially in person, is that fundamentals to many people is considered boring. You talk to a current NBA fan today, it's boring. What they want are fast break steals, fast break blocks, from behind, like Yo Kang did. Not Yo Kang, but you know what I mean.
I know.
And they say that's what basketball is. That's what basketball is.
And my next 4 words are, who told this lie?
And it really gets to me because you look at teams that have put the work in.
Yeah.
I mean, San Antonio Spurs were one of the top tier teams every time. And people were like, I don't like watching them. They're boring. But they're winning.
Yeah, they're kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah, but they're boring. But they're winning. Yeah, but they win boringly. What?
I heard that too. I heard one of my best friends, Bill Schoenig, the voice of the Spurs, said the same thing. Said the same thing.
It's just, it gets maddening to me. And so I guess what I think, and I think this is in every sports.
Yeah.
Every sports needs to start with fundamentals.
Yeah. Do you think?
Cowboys. Hello. Fundamentals.
Yes.
Your offensive line needs to learn how to pancake block.
Let's say hi to Blazed Radio. What's up, Blaze McCoy? Good to have you aboard this afternoon, and salute to Ryan McCoffey in the chat as well. Blaze, I got a question for you. The note that I read to start the show, is that confirmed? Is that true? For if it is, a lot of my prayers have been answered. and I mean that. Back to Victor. There are no fundamentals in sports anymore. Period.
No,
There
no,
aren't.
because I mean, look at football.
Oh God.
How many times do you see halfback sprints?
Yep.
How many times have you seen the counter gap? I've just seen the jet sweep.
You want to know what's crazy? And people think I'm crazy for saying this aloud.
Mm-hmm.
You know the last team to use the counter gap effectively?
San Fran.
Yep. And who to come against? The Cowboys.
Yeah.
To start the fourth quarter.
So that's something we should actually kind of adopt in our own playbook, right?
You would think.
It's not just even the Cowboys. The Patriots are also guilty of this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The Pittsburgh
They
Steelers
are.
have been guilty of this because we have really not seen a big time running back. And I might be wrong, but I don't think I've seen a big time running back in Pittsburgh since the bus, Jerome Bettis.
The only thing that has come close is Willie Parker,
Yeah.
who set a Super Bowl record.
As much as Cole's gonna hate this team, because I know he hates his team, but Derrick Henry from Tennessee.
Derrick Henry.
Titans.
Yep. Jonathan Taylor from the Colts.
So
And
you
I
do
plan
have,
to have Matt Taylor. I plan to have Matt Taylor on later this week.
and not only that,
But
think about the absence of a fullback.
I love the fullback position.
I do too.
I adore that. We know two of our favorite players played fullback.
Yep.
Moose, Darryl Johnston, and Woody, Tom Rathman.
During the time that the Bears were in the Rex Grossman era alongside Thomas Jones, there was a cat by the name of Brock Forsey
Brock Forsey.
for the Bears. And he was probably even more dangerous than Thomas Jones as a fullback.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the Bears are running the I formation. And more often than not, probably the power I.
Power eye indeed.
So you're thinking like the I formation, which was an amazing formation, probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was.
Why is that not being utilized now?
Man, the power eye is one of my favorites.
I
love seeing and hearing about the power eye.
I don't see
why is that not a thing anymore?
I don't see people running I formation.
I'll ask you a question. Why is that not a thing anymore?
Because no one really cares about the fullback formation or the fullback
position.
No one really cares about the fullback position.
Well, shucks, I do.
The fullback position has been gone by the wayside. A lot of times, same with a lot of the tight end formation. The tight end position is kind of gone by the wayside.
You know, the last fullback resides in Frisco right now. Kyle Juszczyk.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Juszczyk.
And it's crazy to me that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That these and I would call it physically strong positions are not really big. I'm not saying that other positions are not physically strong. We talk about just straight power, straight put you on your ASS power.
Yes.
It'll be fullback, it'll be tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the offensive line. Because the receivers are more speedsters.
Right.
They're supposed to burn you. They're supposed to blow by you.
That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're paid to do.
The halfback, the running back is more of the footwork guy.
Yes,
he can bowl you over, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
and most times they will.
And we've seen it.
But a well-timed juke, puts the person on the ground, and you're able to go up the field 20 yards. That's amazing.
Blaze Radio in the house with us. Here we go, Stellars. We got a Stellar fan here. I am from the Steel City and I bleed black and gold. And then he brings up Mike Allstott, another great fullback from the past. Love seeing the Steelers use it again as well, somewhat. But Blaze Radio, let me ask you a question. And you know what? Let's go to a break because we're overdue for a break. And when we come back, I'll ask the fans a question and get some more random musings from Vicala. Back after this.
I'm in another lane. I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing next-level pro wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
PK Tire Pros, your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon to see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
Oh, we're back. Busy scrambling around here trying to get everything together, but we are back. And Victor Locke joins me for his random musings. And we talked we talked football, we talked fundamentals, and okay. I'll go ahead and get this over with.
Uh-oh.
Why are you saying uh-oh already?
Every time you pause like that, you're going to say something off the cuff. I already feel it.
Me?
Don't do that.
What you mean? You sound like the way I talk to my children.
He's like you said before, don't give me that mess. I didn't get a chance to do this, but yesterday I wanted to also give props to your pops because
I appreciate it.
One of my favorite little stories was I got a chance to pick you up for a Brother Rice game.
Yes.
And I had my trench coat on, I had my suit and tie because that was our MO.
Yeah, well, it was.
And I had shades on. And I walked in, and your dad looked at me. He said, "Oh, look, it's Joe Cool."
Yes, he did.
I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I thought that was.
This is before I came downstairs in my trench coat,
right?
In my shirt and tie.
They were called the Blues Brothers.
Yes, we were. Dad called us the Blues Brothers. He absolutely did.
But I just wanted to get that to you. But what were you saying?
Okay, there's two ways I want to go that cause me to pause.
Okay.
But the problem is with both situations, I'm afraid.
Well, tell the truth, shame the devil. So we're already here now.
Yeah, we're already here. We're already on. Thanks to CSTV for picking us up this afternoon. And Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts, will join me during the second hour.
Oh, boy. I'm a little concerned because you're usually not this scared to touch a topic.
Normally, I'm not.
Well,
but there's a couple that give me pause.
Yeah.
All right. Here it comes. Why is it that when a team like the Denver Nuggets win the title dominantly, you know who seems to be the center of conversation yet again?
Because he's the media darling. That's why. I'll tell you. It's an easy answer. That's an easy question to answer.
Yes, it is.
I thought you were going to ask, why is it that when a team like the Denver Nuggets wins so dominantly, they're not given proper due or respect? And it's just what I said before. In
Same
the morning,
question.
what I
Same
said in
question.
what I said in the morning show was, it's to people who did not watch or people who have their own fan bases, it's a fluke. The Denver Nuggets were not supposed to be there.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Ryan, we're trying not to talk about him. But given the fact that it's the Denver Nuggets we're celebrating and we are celebrating them.
I have to bring up this
Go
little
for
story
it.
real quick. When we used to do sports section, I told Snowman I had an idea for a really good topic, and he's like, "Oh boy." It's around the time that the Winter Olympics was coming around, and one of the sports that was really big in the Winter Olympics was a sport called curling.
Yes.
And Ryan looked at me and he said, "What in the hell is
what in the
curling?"
Vita blue hell is curling?
So I explained it as best I could, which was like a mixture of shuffleboard and mopping.
Which had me falling out of my chair.
And we went through the whole thing, but it became such a popular content that even our director at the time, he said, in the end, it all comes back to curling. So in
And
this
he said it several times.
Yep. So in the end, it all comes back to Yo Kang, because Yo Kang will always be the center of attention. He can't help it.
He can't help himself, can he? He can't help himself.
This really should be the moment for Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets to celebrate a title that one, I don't think even they thought they'd ever get.
Right.
But what most people had basically X'd them out for anyway. A lot of people had already eliminated Denver beforehand.
Right.
Once the Lakers had got through the play-in round. And then they beat, sorry, Snowman, they beat Golden State.
Don't be sorry. They beat him. They beat him, period.
Everyone said, oh, this is LeBron's championship to lose. This is LeBron's championship to lose. There's no way that the Lakers are going to lose to the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Before this series started, Snowman, we were I was at my office and we were talking about who was gonna make our way through.
Right.
And a lot of people said, yeah, the Lakers, I think they're gonna be Western Conference championships. And I said, I don't think so. I think Denver's got them.
Yeah. We both said that.
I got laughed at.
I got laughed at.
They were like, what you mean? The Denver Nuggets?
God, not that word.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so that word, yes.
Use it. Please use it.
What you mean? The Denver Nuggets. And I said this sentence, quote,
oh gosh.
Nikola Jokic is coming for blood.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're like, well, he ain't gonna get none because the Kang's gonna stop him. No, the Kang can't stop him.
He can't.
Nikola Jokic is coming for blood.
And he did.
And if you're smart, you'll get out of the way.
You'll get the hell out of there. Blaze Radio, Nuggets earned it all year long. Now with Murray and Porter stepping up as well, they would have a legit big three, in my opinion. They could very well repeat next year. Absolutely.
I think they will. I think they
will.
I think right now, unless Golden State really gets their act together, and I'm looking strictly at you, Draymond.
I'm looking at the organization as a whole.
I'm looking at Draymond.
Yeah. I'm looking at Draymond Green to keep his act together.
Yes.
Because at the tail end of the scene, it seemed like they were keeping their act together. But as they explained themselves, that offseason incident with the punch to Jordan Poole ruined them.
And that's the other person I was going to talk about. Jordan, as I call him, Jordan Kiddie Poole.
Shut up. No lie to be found, but
Jordan Kiddie Poole. You know, the one that you barely can fill up halfway before it overflows?
Right.
That, yes.
Right. Right.
Because you came in, you're supposed to be the new Splash Brother. You're supposed to be the one that comes in
You're supposed to
when
be the splash cousin.
right. If Klay Thompson
Mhm.
can't go, if Steph Curry gets injured, you're supposed to be that guy that steps in and fills that hole. And yet, where were you?
He came up very short.
Where were you?
Yeah.
So if Golden State can get that together, they can be a contender. But I'm
Mhm.
thinking that one of the only ones that can stand in Denver's way of repeating is Sacramento.
No argument here.
Sacramento,
No argument here.
between Sacramento and Golden State, that was a drag out fight.
Yeah. 7 games worth.
So I would say like that team, that's the
Right.
one I would look at as a possible contender for the crown next year. But
Mhm.
I can't argue. Denver has a big three, a legitimate big three.
Right. Right. Can't shucks, can't deny that. Sacramento's legitimate.
I got to
Period.
point out Mr. McCoffey. By the way, when I guest host next week, it will be a Kang-free zone.
Zone. I expect it to be. I absolutely expect it to be.
Like 9-5 is to say about because I will make it personally to just keep talking about Yo King until I get Espresso McCoffee to come out.
Oh my God. You get espresso my coffee to come out, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a huge problem.
But to your question though, it's weird to me that this is how media is. But this is how media is. I mean, you have, and we've talked about this, a top tier baseball team in North Carolina,
Wake Forest.
and they have gotten no love whatsoever besides you and Jay Spivey.
They play the 2 p.m. game on Saturday. What
You told me on
they don't get the feature. They don't even get the freaking feature game.
what you said on Monday, 9 home runs, 20
9
runs in total. That's a basketball score. Look,
Yeah.
the only time that you ever see 10 plus runs is usually like if it's a game that goes extra innings.
Yeah, that's the only time you see it. But they had 10 before the 5th inning.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and
That
I
should
watched that game, and I listened to my buddy Stan Cotton call the game.
Everybody should be watching that. Everybody should be paying attention to Wake Forest, especially if you're a fan of baseball. Why is that not being pushed?
Florida and LSU. That's why. Florida and LSU.
But they're trash.
are getting most of.
But they trash. This is what I mean. It's like,
Look, I'm not arguing. Okay, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing at all. But you know how who's broadcasting the tournament? Who's broadcasting the College World Series?
I'm guessing it's ESPN.
Therein lies the answer to the rest of your questions.
So it's the mouse.
Yep.
And I agree.
They're making Florida and LSU to be bigger than what they are.
Yeah.
They're making Florida and LSU bigger than what they are. And Wake Forest is the number 1 team in the country.
The number one team in the country.
The number 1 team in the country.
The number 1 team in the country had put up 20 runs.
Yep.
20.
Yep.
And nothing?
Nothing.
And I agree with, again, Mr. McCoffey coming in with the heat. Mainstream media is all filler and no substance. Or as JR would say, all sizzle but no steak.
I don't see a steak with mainstream media.
But that's the problem, is that the media darlings
Yep.
are always the ones that get the forefront, and everyone else gets scraps, and barely even that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that Jay Spivey had, when I got a chance to talk with him that one time, when they said someone was talking about the NBA, I'm like, the NBA, the Hornets are terrible.
The Hornets are god awful.
Why would anyone be talking about the Hornets when you have the number one baseball team, number one college baseball team in the country, basically in your backyard?
Yep.
I would do anything in my power to get away from NBA, and I would talk about that. But for some reason, I'll ask you this, Snowman. Is it something about media only going for people with brand names but terrible and losing all the time compared to more obscure teams that are actually winning?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Chicago Wolves barely had any type of media following when they first started, and they kept winning.
Especially when Pat Foley was their voice.
Exactly.
Because remember, Pat Foley left the Blackhawks for 3 years.
And that's what I'm asking, from what you've seen, is it just a matter of, well, the bigger name gets more views, so it doesn't matter if they win or lose, we're just gonna go with the bigger name?
Exactly. And that's how it's always been. That's how it's always been. 2019, who expected San Francisco to get to the Super Bowl? Even though they kept winning and winning and winning.
And what do people say? It's a fluke. It's a fluke.
And then we lose at the gun to Seattle.
Right.
In overtime. We beat them to win the West by a half a yard. Okay?
To me, it's the highest disrespect.
It is.
It's the highest level of disrespect, because you got teams, that's because they don't have that backing, or they don't have that luster, like a Chicago Cubs. Hello.
Oh dear God.
Just because they don't have that luster, that history behind them, they're not even looked at by their own media. I mean, again, like you said, that the fact that one of the athletic directors isn't even at the game where they beat the crap out of the other team with 20 runs. What's going on?
It's all right. Let me pause here. Let's take a break. We come back, more of the random musings of Vickala, and I hope you all are enjoying it. Back in a minute.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, and the usual cast of characters as we bring it to you every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, and it's right here on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Join us, won't you?
I'm in another lane, I'm a different breed, I'm everything you can never be, I'm next level, next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVnow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, Shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Well, thank you to Thomas L. Boyle, and Justin Caton, the owners and operators of CSTV. They say great job with the new 2-hour format. Want to thank you, Tom, for helping us put it together. Have to fix the Snowman commercial. App still shows the old times. I'll make that edit a little later on tonight, and I'll re-upload everything. You're inside of the random musings of Vicala, who joins us this afternoon.
Oh, you're special cut. Go ahead.
I gotta tell you something. We were talking about mainstream media before we went to break, and how much luster it has lost because they don't do the fundamentals. We talked about fundamentals within sports. How about fundamentals within sports media? Like, I don't know, do your research, perhaps.
That's a big one. But also, and I really gotta bring it up because it does bring up a person that I had been meaning to address for quite some time.
Please
it seems like mainstream media likes to not only watch an idol rise, but then watch it fall and crash and burn at the same time. And I need to talk about a very sad case of a circus clown. A very sad circus clown. His name is Antonio Clown. Or Antonio Brown. Oh, yeah. This has been a long time coming.
I'm just going to sit back and let you go. Go with it.
The last time we have seen Antonio Clown on a football field, he was part of a former Super Bowl champion, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know how I say I hate quitters? What did Antonio Brown do his last time on a NFL football field?
He quit. He quit.
Took off his pads, his helmet, and his shirt and walked away. And what reason did he give? That he wasn't getting the ball?
Mm-hmm.
And then when people called him out on it, he said, well, actually, I was injured. So why would you care if you get the ball or not? But let's go a little bit further with this clown.
Look at Blaze Radio. A, B, see you later. Please, no more comebacks. Jeez. I agree.
Oh, I agree.
Oh,
he will not be coming back. Also take consideration that this whole thing came about that he had a prove it year. Where if he got, I think it was like, if he got like 300 more yards and a couple more catches, he would have gotten a massive payday. But because he wasn't getting it on that day, which, let's be honest, a lot of offenses play which defenses are there. So if there's a particular corner that's a little too aggressive,
right,
or a safety who plays too safe,
yep,
they're gonna throw to that person. You may not always be the number one option every game.
Exactly.
And yet he decided that he's not getting the ball. I quit.
And he did quit.
And
he absolutely quit.
But then let's go into some of the public stuff that he's done. The stuff that he's done is off the field that is disturbing, to say the least. Showing his whole behind in a public pool.
Yeah.
Dropping trunks and showing his privates in a public pool in front of a woman. His issue with his I guess ex-wife throwing some gummy phallic symbols at his ex-wife. Sir, you are a father of 5. Would you want someone to do that to your daughter?
Oh gosh.
Now you're the owner of a team that is sinking to the point,
and he caused it to sink,
where you think about you gonna put the pads on and won't go for one more round.
Right.
They don't need you to be a circus show. They need you to be an owner. And this is not me roasting Antonio. This is actually something that we talked about, holding other men accountable.
Isn't that the idea of what we do? Hold people accountable.
And it
Isn't that
concerns
supposed
me.
isn't that supposed to be done across the board?
It
Because
cons-
people, because I've noticed people want to do it to me, but they don't want to do it for me.
yes.
Do you understand where I'm going?
Yes, and Blaze Radio said something really, really poignant about it's a shame because he definitely could have been one of the greatest wide receivers. The only person that actually rivaled his career is Mr. Wide Receiver Jerry Rice,
That's it.
Mr. Hands and Glue himself. That's big company to be in, and you couldn't have the self-control. Mind you, this man also made a fake vaccination card,
Right.
which got him suspended.
Right.
Tom Brady, the guy who pulled him in so that he can get a Super Bowl ring, he then decides after Tom Brady foolishly messed up his marriage, now Antonio is publicly talking about how he's trying to go after Tom Brady's ex-wife.
Why?
Do you have no self-control? Do you have no maturity?
No.
And mainstream media isn't even saying this guy needs help.
They
There's
don't want to say it.
wrong with him. Instead, they just watch him with every single stupid thing he does.
Yep. Yep.
And as Ryan McCarthy said, and now AB has essentially destroyed what was a great arena football team because it's not about the team, it's about him.
And I hate that.
It's about him. It's about, what about me? I'm Antonio Brown. Everyone came to see me. No one came to see the Albany Empire. They came to see me. They should have called the Albany Antonios.
That messes me up more than anything else. That messes me up more than anything else.
It's like, yes, we can make fun of the clown, but someone needs to grab him by the shoulders and say, look,
You're doing this wrong.
You are a father of 5.
Yes.
You need to pull your head out of your ass. Thank you, Chris Bass.
Thank you, Chris Bass.
And try to be an example that your children can be proud of. And children can say, yeah, that's my dad. That's my dad. That's my father.
Yeah.
Rather than these kids always groaning and hanging their head and covering their face whenever you do something stupid.
Okay, y'all remember the old Sylvester cartoons with his son, and Sylvester would get beat up by the baby kangaroo who everyone thought was a big ass mouse.
Yes.
Yeah, and every time that happens, the son will put a paper bag
over his head.
Yeah. You know where I'm going.
Exactly. And that's what's going to happen. Now, I don't know what his age of his kids are right now. They got to be too young.
Yeah.
But when they get older, this is going to be on YouTube forever.
Forever, man.
It's like someone has to sit him down. If he needs professional help, then he needs to get it.
And quick.
Because because no one, say what you want about Terrell Owens, he doesn't do this.
No.
Say what you want about Chad Ochocinco, this ain't him.
Nope, it isn't. It ain't him.
So it's like, what exactly is going on? And like I said, now he's doing this to a arena football team. So he's basically screwing over hundreds of employees, including players, including coaches, where coaches don't even want to coach for him anymore.
Or work with him.
To the point where now he's like, I'm going to go put on the pass. This is not a circus act.
Yeah.
You want to be a clown? Go ring up Barnum Bailey.
Oh, God. They've been out of business for how long now?
You were there because you are a football player. Your experience, you being a Super Bowl champion, that should be what you're bringing to the table.
Should be.
It's so maddening, and like I said before, no one is really in his ear. There's some dude is always hyping him up on Twitter or whatever for his trash music.
Yeah.
Rather than someone saying you need to be in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be in the film room. You need to be looking at that playbook.
You need to be in a mental doctor's office getting your head screwed on straight.
And if that's the case, yes, you have to get your head screwed on straight. You got to talk to someone, lay on the couch. That's what you have to do.
Exactly.
But it is ridiculous that you are not known as Antonio Brown, a NFL great, a top 10 wide receiver. You're not known as Antonio Brown. You're known as Antonio Clown. The one who walked off, who basically trotted off the field in the middle of a game.
In the middle of a game. With a drive going.
With a drive going.
With a drive going.
You're known
That's
as
the
the
sad
man.
part. With a drive going.
You're the one known for throwing gummy weenies at your ex-wife due to some dispute.
Sad to say, living in Michigan City, I've seen behavior like that.
And yet you want to sit there and say, I don't have an ego. I don't have an ego. Then what is going on in Albany? It's gotten ridiculous. And maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's a lot of other people's fault because we watch this behavior, we laugh.
Yep.
We watch this behavior and we start laughing and joking and making all these hilarious compilations. And yeah, they're funny to start off, but then you got to go past that and say, this man's a father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you think, Snowman, and be honest, do you think my father or Sarge would have ever sat back and allowed half the stuff that he does if we did it?
Hell no. Hell no.
It's insane. It's insane what he's doing.
You know what my dad would have done to me even as an adult?
Man, we would have learned. We learned the old.
Wait a minute. Even as an adult, do you know what my late father would have done to my ass?
He would have came back from the grave and still beat your behind if you had done anything like
in
this.
A heartbeat.
Lucifer would have returned in full force.
I'd be feeling whelps on my ass from the grave.
Hey, my mother and father always said the same thing. You're not too old to get a whooping.
Wherever you show out,
it's where you get worked out. But it's like no one is talking to him. The same thing.
You know what Sarge used to say to me?
Mm-hmm.
It's what I say to people trying to mess with my family. Step out of line, and I'll step in your ass.
Exactly, and it's not even with him. It's also John Morant too. And I think John Morant can be saved because he does need to learn his lessons as well. And maybe this loss of money is going to be something that's going to help him along the way. But
do you think John Morant will suffer a suspension?
He'd have to. He'd have to. He's already been warned.
Man, let me throw this in the chat. Do you think that John Morant will suffer a suspension, and if so, how long? That's our question. That's our question of the day. Are we due here? We got a few minutes. How long of a suspension do you think John Morant will suffer? And I'm looking at my note. I'm looking at my notes in my program notes. For those of you, we're implementing a new format, and I want to be sure that I stay on it. Back to Victor.
Yes, he will. How long? I'm not certain. I would probably say about a month. I would say 30 days. I would say 30 days because he's already been given the warning. They're probably going to start off slow.
Yeah.
But I think if he's continuously doing this, he probably will be going to 60 to 90 days because it's getting to the point where what you're doing is not only outlandish, but dangerous. This is not even cavalier anymore. This is straight up dangerous behavior.
And to another point, it's straight up stupid.
Well, yeah.
It's flat out and straight up stupid.
And just like with the clown, no one is talking to John and saying, dude, you need to chill out.
Let me ask a question here. And people are going to hate when I pose this question, but I'll go ahead and pose it. Where is his dad when he needs him?
Is he?
Am I making sense here?
Well,
where is his dad? See, this is what I've seen.
Mm.
Okay, and I'm going just by my eyes. I've seen John Morant's dad be happy when he's on the floor
Winning
playing
games.
basketball,
Yeah.
winning games. Where is his dad right now? When he is needed.
When he's absolutely needed. And we
Am
don't
I
know if
wrong,
he.
y'all?
No,
Am I wrong, y'all?
the thing is, we don't know if he's being talked to about those. And
We
also
don't.
remember, when we're at a certain age, do we listen to our parents anymore?
Most of us know until
But
life decides to give us a kick in the ass.
yeah. And I was gonna say this as well. A lot of times, a lot of those guys now, Ja is an exception, but a lot of young men, especially young black men, where are their fathers?
Yeah.
And it's getting to a point where people are not even looking at fathers as even being necessary.
That's scary.
Look at
That is
how
absolutely scary.
look at how our society is today. No one's really celebrating fathers like they should. No one really cares about fathers that much.
They ever run into us. And information man shows in the house with us. He said, Snowman Multimedia, you're right. It's a damn shame. It is a shame.
It's a shame.
That the old school values have been. All right, I'll go ahead and say it, and I know y'all will be proud of me for speaking the truth and shaming the devil. The old school values from men, from fathers, have been. This is the best word I can come up with. Erased.
Yeah, that was the word I was going to go for. They've been erased because now we're not even taught. I'll do this real story real quickly. There was a day I was on my way home from work, and a woman had fallen over, and everyone's rushing. And I ran over to help her up, got her to the train, went up, and she just kept looking at me, and I was like, "Is something wrong?" And she said, "Do you know that most men your age don't do that anymore? They don't help people up. You saw how many people ran past me, most of them young men ran past me, but you're the one that stayed and helped me up and helped me on the train." I said, "Ma'am, that's how I was taught. That's how I was raised by my family, mother and father. Chivalry, good manners, politeness.
Yes.
Those are
all
things
of
that you were taught."
Yep.
She said, "Yeah, those values are not there anymore." And it took me a while, but I was like, she's right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have people open doors, hold doors open for people anymore.
No,
Let
they
people
don't.
on. Give it up your seat. When you're on a crowded bus and someone's, there's a
do
pregnant woman next to you, they don't even give up their seat.
I do all of that.
And
I do all of that. And thank you, Ryan McCarthy, for your mod duties. I appreciate it. Keep it clean. Keep it clean, everybody.
And I'll get this one before I have to depart because it's almost time. I did the same thing when I think it was actually my senior year of high school. I was getting on the bus and there was another young woman and she had a lot of groceries. Do you remember that Jewel that was right on the corner of 79th and Cicero?
Yes, I do.
Lady came out of there and she was just waiting for the bus, and bus came over and I said, "Do you need help?" And she said, "Sure." So I helped her put stuff on there, helped her with all the groceries, she took a seat. As I head towards the back, and guess who's sitting in the back of the bus with a big smile on her face?
Your mother.
My doggone mother.
Your mother.
And that's the thing, is like, that's why I say to me and my friends and my brothers as well, always be on your best behavior. You never know who's watching.
Absolutely true.
Always pretend in your mind that when you are out in these streets, your mother's watching, your dad's watching.
Man, say that again, please.
When you're out in these streets, always imagine that your mom's watching, your dad's watching, that God's watching.
Yeah.
Because they are.
Yeah. All right. That's the Random Musings of Vic Allah. He'll join me every Tuesday, and then I'll cut this and we'll put it in our own podcast. Thank you, Victor, so very, very much. I love you, brother. Thank
you
you
so much. Love you too, Snowman. We'll do it again later.
All right, we'll do it again. Do it again next week. 180-second pause, and then hour 2, and I'll welcome Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. Back after this.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I wasn't ready. I'm sorry about that. Hour 2 of the Brian Snow Show, nearly said the wrong title, starts right. Oh, jeez. This new format. You think I'd get it by now. But hour 2 starts this way. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
That's what I get. I'm working on 300 things at once, trying to get everything caught up and trying to get everything synchronized and switched over. We got a new layout and a new format, and I'm loving it. I just have to stay with it. I've changed offices. I'm in my old office, and I might have to change again because there's hardly any light in here. I'm working on that. All right, folks, it's hour 2, and I want y'all to do me a favor. For those of you that are fans of the CFL, drop your questions in the chat as I welcome the voice of the Grey Cup champion, Toronto Argonauts, Mr. Mike Hogan. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Brian, how are you doing? How are you doing, sir?
I am doing well, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you.
Can you hear me?
I have you. Mike, you with me?
It's all mine. Thank you for.
He's frozen. Mike, if you can hear me, jump out and jump back in. I'll press this button. We're gonna get Mike Hogan back in just a minute. But let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone really quick. Ryan McCarthy, much respect to you. Much respect to you, Information Man Show. He said, that's being a man. He said, that's thanks for listening to me ramble for an hour. The Argonauts, yep, absolutely. Might be some connection issues. We're gonna try again. And nope, Mike has just signed out. He's gonna try to sign back in, and we're gonna get him on the program. But I was so excited when Mike said and decided that he would be a part of the show and be an interview this afternoon. As I said, we're working on a new format, and now I think I have him, and I'm gonna wait a second. And yep, I think now we have him. Here is Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. And I've been where he's been with connection issues.
Hello?
Mike, how are you, buddy? Yes, sir. I think we got you. Mike, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir. Can you hear me? Oh man,
I can't hear you. Oh,
yeah, I
Are
got
you
you,
there?
Mike. I'm right here.
there we go. And of course, my dog starts barking as soon as we get the technical glitches done.
How are you, Mike? A pleasure to talk to you today.
I don't know what happened off the top, but we got here eventually. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to have you. Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. How does it feel to say Toronto Argonauts Grey Cup champions after the wonderful game they played against Winnipeg in Saskatchewan last November? How does it feel to be a part of the Grey Cup champs?
Just lost the Eastern Final, so to take that jump and to be able to celebrate after a lot of hard work by a lot of different people, and to see that after 35 years in media, to see that from the inside out just made it very, very special.
It did make it very special because it seemed like for a time during that Grey Cup championship that Winnipeg was going to run away, but the Toronto Argonauts defense really hung with them, and then that blocked field goal delivered the knockout punch to Winnipeg's three-peat chances. Oh, doggone it. I think he froze again. He did. Ah, doggone it. I hate when this happens. I think we guys in the chat, is Mike completely frozen on your end? Yep, I lost him. I lost Mike. I think what's going to wind up happening is that I bring him back another time when the connection is better. I hate when that I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens. Shady Sports Network is in the house. What's up with you? The big dog Shane Lake is here also. And hey Victor, thanks for rambling for an hour. That's why we call it the random musings. That's absolutely why we do that. It might be a lag issue. I think it was a lag issue also. So to a point, here's what's going to happen. This will continue. The hour is going to continue, but I think I'm going to chat with you guys and make it as interactive as possible. We're going to try again. All right, we're going to try again, and I believe he's on a better connection. Here's Mike Hogan. Hey Mike.
I really apologize for this, man. This is I don't know what's happening.
It's tech. It's the 21st century, and it's technology. You don't have to explain to me twice.
We just had our Wi-Fi and everything rejigged on the weekend, so I don't know if the new router has something to do with this, but
right.
I'll try it one more time. This is supposed to be improved service, not reduced.
Look, if anybody gets it, you're talking to them. I've been at it 27 years, going on year 28 myself.
Yeah.
And the technology is supposed to get better each year, and sometimes it still falls down.
It's just like we do.
Yeah.
Nobody or nothing is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion, Toronto Argonauts, joining me. We'll take this from the top. How does it feel to be part of the Grey Cup champs?
Okay, I'll try it again.
Yes.
It feels pretty good. My first 2 years, I've been doing play-by-play for the Argos for the most part since 2000. And then in 2018, moved over and became the communications manager. So I became a part of the team. The first 2 years there were 4-14, 4-14, and then COVID. So the first 3 years were pretty bad. Eastern Final appearance, lost in the Eastern Final year before, didn't get to the Grey Cup. And then, to cap it off with that win, as you mentioned, in Regina last year, was pretty special because I know now, having worked on the inside of a sports team as opposed to, covered it from afar, you see how much work goes in, not just during the season, but outside the season. And to see people rewarded for their hard work was it was phenomenal. It's a cliche, but it really is a family.
When that blocked field goal happened late in the fourth quarter, I know you went absolutely nuts in the booth because it gave you the signal, we did it. We won the Grey Cup.
Yeah, it's still kind of weird. We didn't call it was a national broadcast on radio last year, so we didn't call it. I was down on the sidelines.
Right.
And I was kind of to the right of the Argo bench. The kick came to the left of the Argo bench. So I'm sitting there watching it, and the block on the previous play happened literally right in front of me. Like literally, 1 yard line I was on the yard line where it was snapped.
Right.
And the block kick didn't it didn't enter my brain. It was, okay, it's windy. Maybe it's going to push it to the left.
Right.
Maybe he just mishits it. If it's wide, can Brandon Banks get it out of the end zone?
Right.
If he hits it, how do we get into field goal range? All this is going through my mind.
Mm-hmm.
A block never entered the equation. It just didn't, because we just seen one,
Yes.
the previous series. So when it was blocked, it was just a state of disbelief. And it's funny, there was the long shot of the bench as the zeros hit, and everybody's going crazy on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just walking out like Coach Dinwiddie had called the end of a practice in the middle of September, because it hadn't sunk in. Like I
love it.
Okay, now I got a couple of things to do here, but what the hell am I supposed to do now? It was surreal after watching, being a sports fan for 60 years and then, being on the inside of a team that wins a championship. It's just different.
It is. When I did the state championship in Indiana for Marquette Catholic in 2014, I'm at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. I'm with the team. I had been following the team all year, and no one gave Marquette a chance to get to the big game. Here we are. We were there. I was sitting courtside calling this, and they were walking down press row saying, you have to be indifferent. That was the warning we were getting, like all down press row. Yeah, that rule went out the window. We roared back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter, got it to overtime, and my partner looked at me and she says, if we win this, how crazy are you going to go? I said, I'm going to break every rule in the book probably, because I'm feeding the last 4 minutes off of pure emotion. Because we weren't supposed to. This was the number one team in the state.
Mm-hmm.
This was the number one team in the state. Marquette was the number 3 team. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to come back and get us. When that horn sounded, I went crazy. And I knew when the steal happened that got us the clinching basket that put us up 4, I lost it. I went nuts. I had my fists in the air like this, and I was cheering the kids on so much. And the guy who warned me said, you have to calm down. You have to calm down. And after the game, after I did my post-game interviews and I wrapped up, I felt so bad. I went back into his office and I'm crying because I broke a rule. And he came up, he gave me a hug, and he starts laughing. And he says, I get it. We just tell people that because we want to present a united front, but this was your team. I get it now. I get it. I didn't realize you had followed them all year. So we both shared a laugh in the back office.
But there are 2 different style of broadcasts. There's one if you're doing it for a neutral audience. There's one if you're doing it for a home audience.
Yes.
Think about the famous Bobby Thompson home run
yes.
for the New York Giants.
Right.
I don't know who did the national broadcast that day, but it has been long forgotten.
Yeah, it was.
Because it would have been straight down the middle and a big, Bobby Thompson hits a home run as opposed to Russ Hodges. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant.
Yes.
And the people who were watching that game, especially, the home radio audience is special. They're there because the broadcaster's like an old friend.
Right.
And 95% of the people who are listening to a home broadcast, probably more than 95%, are listening because they're a fan of that team, whether it be a high school game in Indiana, a CFL game, or the New York Giants with Russ Hodges in the 50s.
Yes.
They want that connection. So I think there's a limit on how over the top you can go, but you always have to remember your audience, and you're calling it from the perspective of an Argo fan. They want to know it. When you're telling stories between plays, you're talking about the game, in my case, from an Argo perspective, in your case, from a Marquette perspective, right? Because that's what the radio audience is tuning in for. If they want to see something unbiased, they're just going to watch the game on TV.
Yeah.
And you're in the local market for the most part, although certainly the age of the internet has changed that.
Yes, it has.
But it's a different broadcast. So if I was calling an Argo game on TSN for a national television audience, it would be completely different than the call I would have for a home radio audience. Completely different.
It would be completely different. Rod Smith did the call for TSN. And I'm from Chicago. I'm a big time White Sox fan. And when we won it all in 2005, John Rooney sounded like this.
A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! A White Sox winner and a world championship. The White Sox have won the World Series, and they're mobbing each other on the field.
When he said White Sox and world championship in the same sentence, both my dad and I started crying.
Sure.
Because we shared that love for the White Sox since he took me to my first game in 82. And I learned the game. Watching the White Sox and watching my dad and watching my granddad, 3 generations of Southsiders, we learned the game, watched the game, and lived and breathed White Sox just like you do with the Argonauts. And when we heard that call from John Rooney and Ed Farmer, Dad came into my room. We shared a hug, and both of us were crying.
It's
because we finally saw our team do it.
The team of my youth in any sport was Montreal Expos. I grew up halfway between Toronto and Montreal. The 2.5 hour drive in each direction. I was a baseball guy first and foremost as a kid. And when Tim, it was the same thing with you and your dad. It was me and my dad. My dad liked one sport. It was baseball. That was it. Football, he wouldn't know an upright from an ambulance, right? Like it doesn't make any sense to him. But we had the Expos, and my dad had passed when Tim Raines got into the Hall of Fame. I bawled like a kid. It was because that was, you remember him with the White Sox as well.
Yes.
To me, and I've been watching. My first favorite player was Hank Aaron. I've been watching since I was a little guy.
Yeah.
My two favorite, not two favorite. To me, the two most exciting baseball players in my lifetime, with apologies to Ricky Henderson, are Tim Raines and Barry Bonds. When those guys were at the dish or on base, you couldn't. Okay, I'm not going anywhere because something's going to happen. And for Raines, that was my dad as well was kind of. My God, when Raines came up as a rookie, he had come up from Denver. That was a AAA affiliate for the Expos at the time. And I think 3 times in 1 year, he stole second, third, and home. So there was this anticipation of what this Raines kid was all about. Came up as the second baseman. They moved him to left field, replaced Ron LaFleur out there. And, the rest is history. He becomes a Hall of Fame player. But that excitement. And, I just thought of that and how much I loved Raines, how much my dad loved Raines. And when he got into the Hall, waterwork, like Niagara Falls waterworks, not just a little bit. It was, I didn't know I could cry that hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand. A quick break, and when we come back, more with Mike Hogan, the voice of the Toronto Argonauts, when y'all get back.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
One of the great things about ordering meals from Mother of Macros is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Click the national or local delivery link to access the menu, and we'll ship the meals right to your door. We understand you won't always have time to plan, shop, prepare, and cook to provide healthy nutrition for your family, so the process is simple and saves you hours. We know you're busy, so our meals are professionally prepared and packaged. You only need to heat them up and enjoy. We provide macro-balanced, delicious meals chock full of fresh, local ingredients with none of the stuff you don't want to eat. Plus, our menu changes every week, keeping your taste buds wanting more. We take care of your meals so you can worry about everything else on your list. Mother of Macros.
I don't want to grow up. I'm basically a man-child. 2005 Burning Man. I put a single Mitsubishi 170-watt panel on the roof of my F-250, and I killed the batteries within like 15 minutes of the first time turning them on. So that's when I first got into solar. I was blown away by the customer service at Battleborn.
We want them to be happy with our product because in the long run, they're the ones who are out there using it.
When you used to buy something American, like a car, something you knew was built really well, that's what I think of with Battleborn.
Hey, y'all, Snowman here. Catch me.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Welcome back to this edition of the Brian Snow Show. I am joined by Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. For those of you watching on CSTV, serving Northern Nevada and streaming the world, don't forget the final episode of Ghosts in the Hood is tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and of course Thursday night throwdown on Thursday, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. We were talking baseball and seeing your favorite players get into the Hall of Fame. Tim Raines for you, one of mine for me, the big hurt, Frank Thomas.
You're South Sider, of course. That's a natural one.
When Frank Thomas was elected into the Hall of Fame, like you, the waterworks were just there because watched him his entire career, even with his time with Toronto and Oakland. But everyone, even though he was with the Blue Jays and was with the Athletics, everyone remembers him with the Chicago White Sox and how he terrorized the American League.
I don't think I've ever seen a hitter with a better command of the strike zone than him. His eye was stupid. And, you go, how did he take that? And then you go back. I would have loved to have seen him with the whole pitch track thing.
Yes.
Just to see how accurate it was. Because, like, when Greg Maddux pitched, he always got the benefit of the corner. Frank Thomas developed such a reputation for having a great eye that he always got the corner.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think I ever saw a game where Thomas faced Maddux because that would have been interesting to see who got the benefit of the doubt.
I would love to have seen that pitching matchup. Greg Maddux against Frank Thomas, a command pitcher versus a command hitter. That would be like a 20-pitch at bat, you would think.
Depends on the umpire.
Right. It depends on the umpiring crew and who would make the first appeal if Thomas were to even offer at a pitch. But I would think you would think it would be like a 20-pitch at bat.
A lot of foul balls.
Right, a lot of foul balls, a lot of takes, and foul balls reaching the upper deck. Some slashed out of play because one thing you know about Frank Thomas, he loved hitting the opposite way. He really commanded his hitting the opposite way, like a lot of power hitters don't do.
One of my great memories of watching live baseball was happened to be in New York. We went to a game at Shea Stadium, and Maddux was pitching against the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting a little bit down the left field line. And I found it fascinating to try and judge his arm speed with the pitch speed.
Right.
And, you could not tell from the naked eye, what was a fastball and what was a breaking ball leaving his arm. Maybe a curveball. But his changeup was exactly the same arm speed. I know the best guys do that. Johan Santana may have been the best at it. But, Maddux was just a treat to watch.
He was. He was. I loved watching Greg Maddux pitch against the best and outsmart them. But as you said, a matchup against Frank Thomas or Ken Griffey Jr. or Will Clark, and we saw it happen a couple times between Maddux and Will Clark in '89 in the National League Championship Series. But you want to talk about a hitter with a stupid eye? Will Clark.
Yeah.
Where's the respect for him?
But I think that's because he was apparently one of the most unlikable guys in baseball. Where Frank Thomas people liked, where Maddux people liked. And Maddux didn't look like a pro baseball player, which kind of added to his mystique as well. But you know what I mean? Hey, they got some guy off the street to come in and pitch 5 innings.
And he wound up pitching 7 innings or 8 innings or going the distance. And people are still wondering to this day, where did he come from?
Yeah, Will Clark didn't have that reputation at all. He had a reputation not being well liked. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. Never met the man, never interviewed the man, but that was kind of his reputation back in the day. So maybe that's got a little bit of why his reputation. But there are guys like that from that era, especially who get lost. Another guy named Clark, Jack Clark, was a great hitter with the Cardinals. Never really gets his props either.
He was one of my first favorite power hitters besides Greg Luzinski was Jack Clark.
Try sneaking a fastball by Jack Clark, right? It wasn't going to work.
Well, Tom Niedenfield tried to sneak a fastball by Jack Clark, and Jack Clark hit it 400 miles out of Dodger Stadium.
The funny thing about that was, not funny, but nobody was hurt, I guess, but there were brush fires in that playoff game behind the left field bleachers. I swear to God, Clark was responsible for it. That ball left the yard so fast and probably sparked something out in the parking lot. But yeah, that was a rope.
I mean, and the bad part is it was Game 6, Dodgers and Cardinals at Dodger Stadium, and Vince Scully caught Tommy Lasorda muttering, "Should I walk this guy and pitch to that blank blank Andy Van Slyke?" And I'll never forget that. And Jack Clark took it as a challenge. Didn't it seem like when Vince Scully was painting the picture on NBC that Jack Clark took that as a challenge? Oh, you don't want to pitch to me, eh? All right.
I know we're going to lose some of our audience here, but when you think Tom Niedenfuhr, you don't think off speed.
No.
When you think Jack Clark, you think pure fastball hitter.
Yes.
Why would he's just going to sit and wait for something in the area that he wanted it, and
Yeah,
he
he
died.
is.
So it's, that I didn't think that was much. There wasn't much rocket surgery involved on that one. That was just
Right.
Tommy made a mistake.
Tommy made a big, big mistake. Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts, joining me as we take a few strolls down memory lane, baseball wise. Who was your first favorite pitcher that you saw?
Oh boy. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I'll tell you who I loved. There were a lot of guys I respected, but the first
Yes.
guy I fell absolutely head over heels in love with was Mark Fidrich.
There you go. The bird.
I kind of like those characters. I like, Bill Lee and I became, regulars when I had a radio show.
Right.
Bill would come on the show quite often. Fidrich came on every once in a while. I loved Al Roboski, guys who just put a little bit of shine on that as well and had some fun with the game. But Mark Fidrich, I don't think anybody who ever saw that Monday night baseball game where he pitched against the Yankees, pitched a complete game. Tiger Stadium was going crazy. He just had fun with the game, and people had fun with him, and it gave it a little bit of life when the sport needed it. And I can't say anything bad about Mark Fidrich. It's too bad the arm injuries happened when they did, because he was just so good for the game. Oh, did we lose it again? Check 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4.
I'm sorry about that, kids. See, Ay, ay, ay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay, we're back. I got off my
my
phone and I put it on the computer this time, so hopefully this is
I don't
more.
know what happened. My internet crashed
Ah, gotcha.
and had to do the full reset thing. No, turn it on for 10. And I'm wired in. That's the bad part. I'm wired in, and somehow it crashed, but we're back. Sorry for the long pause. I'm going to take a pause here and sneak a break in. We'll come back in 2 minutes and we'll resume more with Mike Hogan, the voice of the Toronto Argonauts. Thank you all for being patient. Thank you, Mike, for being patient. Back in a few seconds.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
Hey everybody, Brian Snow here. Want to do some afternoon sports talk with me and be interactive? Also meet some great guests from every walk of life? Then tune in to the Brian Snow Show on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Weekdays at 2 p.m. Come on aboard and enjoy the ride.
PK Tire Pro is your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon to see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Man, it's been one technical problem after another, but we soldier on here on the Brian Snow Show. I welcome Mike Hogan, the voice of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts, and that little episode where my internet crashed leads me to this question, and I know you've been there. What is the worst technical problem you had as a broadcaster, or some of your worst?
Oh, you brought back a memory. We were calling the 2012 Eastern Final. Winner goes to the Grey Cup.
Right.
We're calling it, ironically, with our previous discussion from the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, where the Expos played for years, and
yes,
the home of the Alouettes for playoff games. So we're all ready to go. The engineers were used to the booth at their normal regular season stadium. They'd go to the Big O because it had 20,000 more seats.
Right.
They didn't know how to get us up and running. So we missed the first quarter. We were standing there watching the game. My color commentator, Sandy Nunziata, and me, we're looking at each other going, I can't believe this is happening. And, luckily the Argos came back, got the win, and went to the Grey Cup. But, some of those calls have been used on television for quite some time. What would have happened if they didn't get it up? But for the first 15 minutes on the play clock, we were just looking at each other going, like, we missed the pregame show, and we're just so frustrated because, it wasn't happening. So that's that was probably not only the most frustrating, but I have a fairly even keel, but I was pretty mad.
I bet.
Thing going.
I bet East final chance to go to the Grey Cup, and you miss part of the action, miss calling part of the action. I'd be mad too.
Yeah, total first quarter was just completely missed. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah, it was not a good situation.
I mean, oh boy, and it was at Olympic Stadium. It was at Olympic Stadium, and they didn't. Oh my gosh, I'd be going.
Luckily, we got back. It was a great game. It came down to the last second. Like, it was just everything you could want in a game. Big plays, lead changes, really dramatic plays, star players being star players for both teams. It was just it to me, it's probably the best, most memorable, one of the 2 or 3 most memorable non-playoff game, not non-Grey Cup games I can remember. It was just, there was so much drama in that game.
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. One of my worst was 2002. I got 2 of them from that year. 2002, I rode the bus from Chicago to Kansas City because I was covering Chicago State University basketball, and they were playing UMKC. Now, at the time, I wasn't live with my broadcasts. I would tape them and then re-air them. Well, I was armed with a tape recorder and a microphone and a headset, and it was, to say the least, it was very, very cheap, especially the microphone, because the microphone had a simple connection, plug it into the tape recorder, you're ready to go. Yeah, until I went to check something and I pulled the microphone out and the connection disintegrated. It fell apart. And I'm looking up at the clock, and there's 15 minutes to tip off, and I'm going, what the hell do I do now? Fortunately, one of the folks from UMKC saw what happened and had an extra setup, a mixer and a headset mic, and I was able to plug into my recorder, get the game in. I was certainly frustrated after that, and I said, you know what? I just need to start investing in my own equipment.
Yeah.
Just to be, even though I'm with the university, I got to have my own toys.
Yeah, still sometimes, you got to have the best equipment, and sometimes technical snafus happen. So, yeah, I feel there's nothing worse than having somebody lined up for an interview, or in your case, a game, and something totally out of the blue and totally out of your control happens. It happens. So.
Well, here's the funniest one. Same year, I was coming to high school game, big Chicago South Side rivalry, Brother Rice and St. Rita. And I got friends at both schools. I got people who cover both schools, and they were shocked to see me there because they didn't think I'd be able to make it. I made it all right in a shirt and tie, and they sent me up to the roof to call the game. So not only do I not get a physical seat, I am leaning down, looking at the field some 100, 200 feet away, and then the rain started. When I got to the stadium and I'm walking in and I'm seeing the clouds, and you've been there when you walk to the stadium and you see ominous clouds overhead, and you're going, oh, don't let the weather play a part in this. Yeah, it did, because the first quarter I got soaked. Now, I'm holding an umbrella and a microphone in the same hand. The moment I switch hands for the umbrella, whoosh, big gust of wind takes it. Big gust of wind takes my umbrella. It's halfway up 79th Street going west, and I'm going, now what? I'm getting soaked. And it was the greatest game, one of the greatest games I ever did, because it went 6 overtimes.
Wow. I mean, luckily for football, I mean, we only have delays if there's lightning.
Right.
They'll play through snow, and we every couple of years we get a classic snow game up here in Canada, and Chicago, same thing. But we did a lightning game probably 5 years ago now. It was incredible. I think it was a 2-hour lightning delay.
Yeah.
Because I could see it was going to get better.
Yeah.
But we just waited and waited and waited and waited. And we had no guests and no studio hosts. So it was me and my color guy just killing time for 2 hours. The good thing is, we had enough stories between the two of us to hopefully keep it somewhat entertaining. But I always like the challenge of when something goes wrong that's beyond your control, as long as it's not something with the equipment. But if it's something
right.
if you lose me as a guest, there's always that challenge as a broadcaster to, okay, how do I get through the next 2 minutes until I can get them back up?
Yes.
I love those challenges.
I just had one.
It's not too often.
I just had one when my internet crashed.
Yes,
and
exactly.
If
So
y'all
you deal with it, and hopefully the listeners don't get too frustrated.
And I'm screaming aloud as I'm resetting my unit, and I'm resetting my space here. I'm screaming aloud, Mike, please don't leave. I love having you. Please don't leave. And everything's resetting, and I'm sitting here going, okay, Mike, I'm coming back. I'll be back. I'm getting back in here. And I'm glad you stuck around. I love having you on. I look forward to having you on a lot more. Here's a great one. I had a Lightning game myself in 2013 with Marist High School in Chicago. No, that's not the one I want. I want to tell this one. My first year with Trinity International University, 2011. We go to Iowa. We went to Dubuque, Iowa to play St. Ambrose. And we got through the first half, and St. Ambrose was up 10-3. And then the skies opened up and the rain came down. And we were in a weather delay. And another one. And another one. And another one. We didn't play the second half. We didn't play the second half until 6 p.m. that night. And we kicked off at 1. Well, I'm expecting to be done by 4.
Yeah.
Because I borrowed my mother's car. And I told her I had to go do a football game. I didn't tell her it was in Dubuque, Iowa, but I had access to the car because the team had already gone. And like I said, I didn't tell her it was in Dubuque, Iowa, but I did tell her I had a football game. So I had to use a little chicanery to get a ride there because I didn't want to miss my first assignment because it was through a friend and through his company. So we play the second half. The fellas helped me get home. They get me some gas money. They helped me get home. And I'm finally pulling into the garage of my mother's house at 9:30.
Yikes.
At 9:30. And I got there at 11 a.m. And my protocol is 2 hours prior to kickoff to make sure everything works.
Yeah.
9:30, I'm pulling in the house. And thankfully, my mother, long day. Thankfully, my mother only said 2 things to me. Are you okay? And did you fill up my car? Yes and yes. Okay, good. Go to bed. And I went to bed.
There you go. Perfect.
I got this. I got this one too. I had a lightning delay myself at Marist High School on the south side. We get halfway through the first quarter and it's like 28-0, and then the skies opened up and the lightning came down and everybody had to clear the stands. Everybody had to clear the field. I didn't know what to do for the next 2 hours. And when I finally signed back on, people said, "What happened?" And I said, "I made an announcement. We had a lightning delay and I didn't know how long we'd be on." So I queued up some music. I had like a 2-hour playlist. And thankfully, it was on the last song when we got back in the booth. When everybody got back in the booth and we were ready to resume, I queued up like another 15 minutes worth of stuff, queued up an interview, was able to get through that, faded back in, off we go again. But I've had lightning delays also.
But for the fans, I mean, bad weather just adds to it, right? I mean,
yes, it does.
We all think, in the NFL, I'm an Eagles fan. I don't know if you're a Bears fan growing up in Chicago, but the fog game from back in the late 80s.
Remember the fog game?
Yeah, whatever year that was, 89, 90.
88. Yeah, 88, January of 89. Yep.
Yeah, that was nuts. We had a game up here, a Grey Cup game in 2017. The Argos were in, and we had a national radio call for it. They had to do the Argos sidelines for the broadcast.
Right.
And it was the forecast was for a little chilly, nothing really cold, maybe a little wind. Nobody called for snow.
Right.
Nobody called for snow. Nobody called for a blizzard.
Nobody called for a blizzard.
And that's what we got. We got a horrific snowstorm that just added to it, to the point where you talk about the equipment. Every once in a while with the handheld stuff, you have to check for the battery.
Yes.
So I looked down for the battery life, and I had a hood on top of like the parka with the hood. And I put my head down to look, and about 4 inches of snow came down off the top of the hood. I had no idea it was real, like how much snow was falling on me like a statue.
Right.
But it just added to it because, and I'm not making this up, the halftime show was Shania Twain, right? I mean, one of Canada's great stars, an international country star. She came out to do halftime.
Yeah.
She arrived on a dog sled. They brought her out on a dog sled for halftime. The game is in Ottawa, our nation's capital.
Yes.
It's the 150th anniversary of our country.
Right.
It's a Grey Cup game in a blizzard, and Shania Twain comes out on a dog sled. Like, that might be the most Canadian moment of all time. All we needed was some maple syrup and a Tim Hortons coffee and a hockey stick somewhere, and hey, there's Canada in one picture.
Did they blow up Lansdowne Park?
No. What they did is they blew up the North Grandstand.
Okay.
The South Grandstand is intact, and they built a brand new North End, and it's gorgeous. They really did a good job. And now they're going to do likewise, it looks like, with the South Grandstand and add another area to the like. They're really doing a good job there. Ottawa did their stadium right.
Sweet, very sweet. I have dove into the CFL the past 2.5 years, and thanks to my buddy Rod Peterson of the Rod Peterson Show, he really got me into it. Now I'm like digging into history. This is the first official week of my show, CFL Weekly with Brian Snow. So that's one of the reasons why I invited you on, so we can talk CFL. So I'm like knee deep into it. So we may as well close this thing the right way. The champs take the field against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And I've always wondered about that. I've always wondered about that name, but then I did the history on it. But you got this one at
You want to know the history of the Tiger Cats?
I know it now. I know it now.
Okay, the Hamilton Tigers and the Hamilton Wildcats merged.
Hamilton Wildcats, and they put them and they put them together.
Yeah.
So you open at home at BMO Field, which is going to be a nut house because the banner goes up. They see the Grey Cup, and you open against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, an East Division battle to open the season. And it's like, okay, we're defending champs. Let's just dive right into one of our rivalries and get this thing started.
That's our Darth Vader, and we are theirs. That's the rivalry. This is as good a rivalry as there is in the CFL.
Yeah.
In terms of fans not liking each other, Eagles, Cowboys,
Bears,
Raiders,
Packers,
Chiefs, whichever one.
Bears,
Packers,
Packers, Chargers, Chiefs, all of it.
All
of it in this one
falls into that rivalry. So it's a good way for us to start. We're really going to enjoy, unveiling the Grey Cup banner in front of our arch rivals who haven't won it since 1999. Like, they're in full Prince mode, right? They party like it's 1999 and haven't partied since. So we'll enjoy doing that. And we're also handing out, this is pretty cool, 10,000 replica Grey Cup rings to the first 10,000 fans in attendance. So
nice.
So they're really sharp. Actually, in case you ask,
let's see it.
Brought down. This is our Grey Cup ring. I don't know if it'll show up.
Wow.
I love
there
that.
We go.
It's
awesome.
Pretty spectacular. And we're going to be giving out replicas. They really do look like the ring. And we're going to be giving out 10,000 of those on game day. And if you can't get there and you're curious, argonauts.ca, go to shop and you can actually purchase one online.
I just might have to do that because now I want to get some CFL stuff. I want to get some Argo stuff, especially when I have you on throughout the season and sport the Argonauts. But I absolutely love the CFL. I've been watching a lot of historic games, um, a lot of recent highlight games, getting to know the voices, getting to know folks like you behind the mic, behind the radio mic. As I mentioned, my buddy Rod Peterson got me started back in the CFL because I had given it up for a while, but now I'm knee deep in it. I am knee deep in it. My friend Tom says, "What network carries the CFL in the U.S.?" I believe it's CBS Sports Network.
That's it. That's the
It's
one.
CBS Sports Network carries the CFL here in the U.S. Ryan McCarthy, I remember that Grey Cup. Shania arrived on a dog sled accompanied by Mounties in the snow. The most Canadian thing ever.
It was
That is
crazy.
awesome.
It was nuts, and
Did the
we
crowd
knew
go
Shia was going to
crazy?
be there. I was on the field for it. I had no idea she was coming out on a dog sled, and apparently it was planned whether or not there was snow. Like they had it.
Oh, it was
She
planned.
was going to come out on the dog sled anyway. But the fact that it was in a blizzard just added to it. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Google
Yeah,
it.
I
Find
gotta.
it.
I'm gonna look
It's
for it.
unbelievable.
I'm gonna look for it. All right, some game talk. Ticats, Argonauts, BMO Field, Grey Cup night in Toronto. Who takes over the quarterback duties since McLeod Bethel Thompson now is with the New Orleans Breakers in the CFL? Who is now behind center for you guys?
Yeah, Max Down, he's leading the USFL in passing too, like it's which doesn't surprise us at all. It's Chad Kelly. A lot of people remember Swag.
Yep.
If you watched Netflix, Last Chance U, so Chad went to Clemson, didn't work out there, went to East Mississippi Community College, which was the first couple of seasons of Last Chance U, and then won a national championship there, moved on, played at Ole Miss, and was fantastic. He was second team All SEC for a couple of years. Got drafted. He was Mr. Irrelevant in the NFL draft one year with Denver.
Right.
Ended up with the Colts for a little bit back in your old stomping grounds in Indiana. And he's got something to prove. He was out of the game for a year, came backed up last year, got an opportunity to play the last game of the season. It didn't mean anything in the standings, and he looked really good. And then got to fill in the Grey Cup game when McLeod Bethel Thompson got hurt in the fourth quarter and led the Argos to the winning points, the winning touchdown. So there's already a little bit of a mythological twang to his story, which I guess with the Argonauts, mythology is a good thing. He's ready. He's ready. He's looked great in camp and has a lot to prove to himself. And I think there's a big part of him wants to get back to the NFL and maybe not have the career his uncle Jim did with the Bills, but to be able to kind of show that he belonged in the NFL as well.
Who's he throwing to? What's his receiving core like?
Well, let's stick in your neck of the woods again. Davaris Daniels is a Chicago guy who played for Notre Dame.
Yep.
And has found himself in the CFL for the last 5 years or so. He's really talented. There's a Canadian receiver named Curly Gittins Jr., one of the great handles of all time.
Yeah.
He's now in his fourth year, third as a starter. And last year, he was the best Canadian receiver in the league. 1,111 yards. I think it was one of those nice numbers to remember. But over 1,100 yards for sure. So he's, there are some guys who he can throw the ball to. Cam Phillips is a guy who led the XFL in receiving yards and touchdowns the year of the shortened season in the XFL, the COVID year. So there are some guys who can play, and he's not going to be hurting for targets, that's for sure.
Gotcha. Oh man, gonna love watching that. It's the Ticats and the Argos at BMO Field, 7:00 Eastern time kickoff. Y'all need to check it out and then give a follow to this man and listen to the call as Mike Hogan, the voice of the Toronto Argonauts, will be behind the mic for that call. Thank you, my friend, through all the technical difficulties. Thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to having you on again and again and again. Thank you, partner.
Really appreciate it, Brian. And hey, now 20 years from now, we can tell this story like we did some of our old stories about snowstorms and lightning storms.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, partner.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
Mike Hogan, the voice of the Toronto Argonauts, he'll be in action on Sunday night when the Argonauts face off against their hated rivals in the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Brian Snow Show. I want to thank y'all for sticking with me through all of the technical difficulties. Don't forget, a replay of this will be available on snowmanmultimediasports.com. We're in the process of getting snowmanmultimedia.com back also. All kinds of stuff in the works. I'm going to make sure this thing works and sees everything through to the finish. I don't know what happened, but I thank y'all for being with us, staying with us, chatting with us, lighting up the comment section. As always, we're presented by BetUS as well as Invader Coffee and Fanatics. Thank y'all very, very much. I am out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow. God bless everybody.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.